Uyaruna,
Uyaruna,
Uyaruna, Uyaruna, Uyaruna, Uyaruna, Choma, Irima Gwala Acheche, Uyaruna, Choma, Irima Gwala Acheche,
Ladies and gentlemen, let us all rise to attention for the national anthem. May we all quiet down and stand to attention for the national anthem.
President of South Africa, viva!
Viva! Hey, Dumela! Le guys! Democrats, dear leadership that is here from provinces and all across the country, to members of parliament, members of the provincial legislature, mayors, councillors, ambassadors, all the traditional leaders who are here, religious leaders, distinguished guests, dear activists, hola! Hola, dear activists, hola!
Hola!
Fellow South Africans, Bagaetsu, Dumelang! Hey, it's so good to be here today. Because I want to tell you, in 2016 we came here and we said to the people of South Africa, one day the DA will be in government in Johannesburg, in Tshwane, in Nelson Mandela Bay. They said to us it would never happen. Rebone kajeko. Tshwane is blue. Joburg is blue. Syria kopile ka re Gauteng, we are coming. Amandla. You see, they keep telling us over and over again what the DA can and can't do. They say you've got no chance, never lekone. And I'm here to tell them, look around you. These are proud South Africans who have done it before and they're about to do it again in 2019. Amanda! Fellow South Africans, I want to say, you all look beautiful. It is so good to see everybody here. It's a wonderful sight. And I want to say to all the Team 1SA members who are here, I am so grateful to see, because it tells me that you guys care about our amazing country. I want to tell you, South Africa is a beautiful country. I've traveled to enough places and you will never find a more beautiful country than South Africa. And I tell you, we are all here because we want to be a part of a solution. It doesn't matter what the color of your skin is, you are part of the solution in South Africa. Fellow South Africans, we are here because we believe in the power of this beautiful country. We believe that this country is worth fighting for. And so long as Repela, we will always be a beautiful nation, a more optimistic and a strong group of South Africans. I want to tell you something, our people shine regardless of what happens. And so today, we want to celebrate those who lift South Africa up as our heroes in this country. These are sporting giants who've risen to high levels in the sporting world. And I want to say to Caster Semenya, you are our hero and we stand with you, Caster. These are sporting heroes like Bo Wade, Bo Chad, and Luvo, champions who have flown the South African flag in the biggest stages. There are giants in business, Bontate Maponya from Soweto to Adrian Gore. These are South Africans who have conquered the world in the world of business. There are such beautiful musicians like Ladysmith Black Mambazo who are performing on high stages like what John Carney in Black Panther. There are South Africans who have flown rockets, who have flown to space and launch their own rockets. These are South Africans that we stand with today who have developed their own rocket fuel. And I'm talking about Usiabulela Kuza, a young South African from the township of Umtata, has ended up on the halls of Harvard. These are incredible South Africans. Fellow South Africans, net hierdie as a young man van Paternoster, Kobus van der Merwe, se Weskus restaurant bekroon as die beste restaurant in die hele wêreld. Dit maak my baie trots. En ek wou net sê, Kobus, ek hoop binnekort sal ek kom daar om iets te laat eet, jy weet. But I want to tell you, fellow South Africans, we have shown time and time again that we are a nation of champions. That when we are called upon, we can compete with the best and beat the best in the world. That's what makes us who we are. It reminds me that in fact, the problem is not with us. It's not with us as a people. I know the people of South Africa, we can do anything. It is within the character of our people to do great things. To be South African is to be resilient, it is to be strong, it is to be proud. This is who we are. And I think from from time to time, we must celebrate the beauty of our nation and the beauty of our people. Amandla! We don't just celebrate heroes like Tata Mandela and Archbishop Desmond Tutu, but I want to also celebrate the everyday heroes. It's a story of the single mother who wakes up all day, works hard to raise her children, confronts poverty, which has become more feminine, against all odds. Despite the threat to her own safety, this is a South African who knows that she stands for a family and she will give everything in our country that is so female household. We celebrate South Africans like her. It is indeed, fellow South Africans, the young father who takes on his responsibility and takes care of his child. It's the father who stays with his family despite what is going on and becomes a role model for his children. It's our teachers. You know, many of our teachers go to schools that sometimes don't have the right technology, don't have all of that. But it's those teachers who get up every day. It's those nurses who, even though they go to hospitals without roofs, but they are willing to stand up. It's those policemen and women who, even though they face great danger, still wake up every day to say, I will protect our citizens. I wish they were paid more, but I want to thank them for the incredible work that they're doing as proud citizens of our country. I want to tell you, it's those NGOs, those NGO workers and the church volunteers who help feed the poor in poorest communities. Those are heroes. It's the businessman who works hard and sacrifices profit only so that he can keep the people at work in a time where South Africa faces recession. It's the ordinary people around us. It's the people of our nation who, even though on Twitter and social media we got confronted with people who want to stoke up racism, but it's these South Africans who choose to see the heart of the person rather than the color of their skin. These are South Africans that remind me how great a nation we are.
Booah!
We don't, fellow South Africans, have a shortage of heroes. But I want to tell you about my own hero. My own father. Ntatwaka. Uteng mo stadium ka jeku. Utlile le mme wa ka le and my family who are here. Ke a leboga batho.
Hoi hoi!
Hoi
hoi!
I want to tell you why I think my father is my own hero. His priority in life was always to look after his own family, my two sisters and my brother and I. Ntatwaka believed that his first responsibility as a father was so that he could work hard, and he always made sure he could just do just that. Every day. It didn't matter whether it was raining, whether the sun was shining, the taxi to Dobsonville and take many fathers to places of work. Early in the morning they would go, they would know one thing, they are doing this for the sake of their children. As a black South African living under apartheid, there was no ways my father would ever be able to be the owner in that business. Yet he knew just by having a job, he would get home late every night. He would then do it all over again the following day. He never complained. They kept going. They kept going even though it was difficult. He and many fathers from our townships, Batsamaya, Babereka, Basacrifice for Banababo. And I want to say, they did it, even though under apartheid in the most brutal circumstances, they did it because they all held on to a hope that the future of their children will be better than the circumstances that they found themselves in.
Yeah.
Fellow South Africans, I want to say this. Ultimately, all of us wake up believing that our children must have a better tomorrow. Ke bontate le bomme who struggle day in, day out, ba sokola, ba tsamaya, ba ya mmereko. Sometimes mmereko ba sa enjoying, mar ba itse gore ba tlo berekela bana ba bone. It's the South Africa we want to build, where people ba ba tlo bereka, ba shebile bokamoso ba bana ba bone. It's why, fellow South Africans, my father worked as hard as he did. He made sure that he knew the only way they could get through is to get an education. That's what he worked for. And I remember one day, Tatuaka sat with me and said, wait again, Musi. Let me tell you something. I would rather go without socks or wena o tsene school.
Booah!
I really do believe he truly would have given up everything so that his kids would have a better tomorrow. You see, that's the South African story. It's the child of migrant workers who ends up being the leader of the opposition in South Africa. That's the beauty of our nation. And I want to tell you something. What my father also knew is that things don't just happen. Isn't just mele zenzeke. We are pagama, we are zenzela wena ngowakho. You have to make things happen. You have to create the future you want. And for him, this meant giving me an education that would open doors. This is why, fellow South Africans, my own father is my own hero. But I want to tell you, he's not alone. Because I see everywhere where I see there are people who are committed to that dream. Growing up in the 80s and in the early 90s, I got to experience the very best and the very worst of our country. From apartheid state of emergency to the joy of our first democratically elected elections. My childhood had it all. By the time Nelson Mandela was freed and walked out of the doors of Victor Verster, I remember it all too well, the optimism that filled our country. It was everywhere. We felt like, hey man, this was the birth of a nation. We could go somewhere. We could triumph over a system that locked out so many. It felt that freedom was now possible for all of us, not just for the few. South Africans. And when the time came for the people of South Africa to make their mark in the first democratic elections, they did what every post-colonial nation in Africa has done. They put their trust in a party that liberated them. Their choice was never in doubt. If anyone was going to deliver that dream, it meant that that party, that liberation movement would do it. Our liberators had promised us on the day that they would deliver a better life for all of us. In those early days, I think many of us felt like somewhere. We were getting somewhere. In that generation of leaders led by people like Nelson Mandela, our government started to build schools, they started to build houses, they started to build hospitals. Even back then, they connected communities to electricity grid and to clean water. We signed a new constitution which contains so many of the values of our great nation. The values that are so described by a South African who I draw great inspiration from. Someone like Helen Suzman. You know why? Viva Helen Suzman, viva!
Viva!
Viva Helen Suzman, viva!
Viva!
I celebrate Helen Suzman because here was a woman who stood alone, but even though she did not share the faith or the gender or in fact the race of the people that she fought for, she knew that the pursuit of equality was a pursuit that was worth pursuing. She knew back then that it was possible to build a South Africa which belonged to all, black and white. She laid the foundation for the party that now I see around me today. A party that represents black people, white people, Indian people, colored people, South Africans who are rich, South Africans who are poor. We are a party for all South Africans, the new South African Party. Amandla!
Away to
Those early days of our democracy felt great. We were a country that was overcoming its brutal past, and we set ourselves up for a better tomorrow. One South Africa for all. But then, I don't know about you, it feels like something happened. Something altered that course. Our leaders began to change and they lost sight of our goals. They realized where they can make money out of every job, out of every contract, out of every purchase that was involved in government. The posters on one side still said a better life for all, but all of us knew what it truly meant was that it was a better life for some, for those who are connected to them, for those who are family members, and they forgot about the rest of us in South Africa. While too many of our people, millions, did not have water, some were drinking the finest champagne from the stage.
From a greasy.
Bobangata ba rona ha bana dijo, batho ba rona ba bolaiwa ke tlala, mare bone ha ba ya go di restauranteng ba ja dijo tse di majabajaba, ba na le dikoloto tse di go godimo because ba lebetse ka batho ba rona. Wait a ya pitho. How fitla ko Soweto, how fitla ko Hong, you arrive, our people are standing in long lines. Tadi taxi, mare bone ba tsamaya ka dikoloi tsa majabajaba. Go monate for bone while our people are still struggling in South Africa. Bendisa Eastern Cape. Ithi xa ufika Eastern Cape uthi ujonga indlu yakhe ngulorhulumente, ithi xa uyizimela kuyo nedonga liyakulandela. Awukhona nokuma endlini ngoba imvula xa inetha amanzi angena endlini, kodwa abanye bebehlala kwenye indawo enkandla, iinkomo zabo ziphila ubomi obungcono obudlula abantu bethu.
Tata!
Those who started off as liberators have ended up being the ones who are looting from our people. They started in the arms deal, they proceeded to Busasa, and now Bako VBS, when millions and millions of money has been stolen. They have stolen the dignity of our people, they've stolen the future of all South Africans. Fellow South Africans, today, 25 years into our democracy, batubako machabeng, basantane baemetse metsi ko Free State. Today, 25 years into our democracy, our children are still dying in pit latrines. What kind of South Africa do we have when our children die in pit latrines? That is an injustice in our nation. We never thought our liberators would one day take their guns against our own people. You know, recently, malobanyana negele ko kasi tu kasi. Tela nageri tsamaya di kasi from Dopsy to Orlando, baga ba ko Orlando, ke a ile ko Machabeng, dia hamba dia Khayelitsha, re tsamaya everywhere. But recently, Bensekhaya, Eastern Cape, can't figure pandi figure indawo eSada, eWhittlesea. Xa uthi uyajonga pha uyabuza uba aphi amanzi apha bathi kum hayi urhulumente ufikile apha wathi uzawufaka i-borehole apha wathi xa ke ikhupha laa borehole izinja ziwela phaa zifele phaa kulaa mgodi abantu bethu today basela amanzi anamathambo wezaa zinja eziwele phaa. A dog falls into the pit that was dug so that our people can drink water, and yet still today our people are sharing water with dogs inside of them. That is not the South Africa we want. We want change, and we want it now. Amandla, we want change, and we want it now. You should ask yourself, why 25 years are these people still not having clean water from taps? You should ask yourself, I met a grandmother. I kenya go VBS. They ended up, they are so greedy. They stole the hopes, they stole the future of that woman and the future of her children. You want to tell me that corruption doesn't have a victim? We want change, and we want it now. Fellow South Africans, it is that corruption that makes our mothers and our sisters do some despicable things so that they can get a job. But I want to tell you, corruption isn't just isolated to the people at the top. It's the ward councillor, and it makes our way all the way into the office of the president. It's that crooked ward councillor all the way to the top. Fellow South Africans, we need change. Our country has been sold off by those who swore an oath to protect our nation. We've just now learned, even from the Zondo Commission, that they are willing to sell off our country for bribe peg. Nahana, or regisa struggle sabato for Louis Vuitton or for Jack Daniel. Aye, auna letsualo. Auna hlaso. I want to say this to you. This is not the South Africa we want. I'm here to declare today, enough is enough. Genoeg is genoeg. Hulikani. We need change, and we need it now. We need change, and we need it now. Fellow South Africans, this is not the future my father and fathers from his generation spoke about. I have spoken to more and more people who tell me the same story. They say they were forced to accept the hard truth that things could not change in our country with this government. Because they all keep thinking maybe the ANC will change. Hey, ANC haitlo fetoga. Corruption e batsene mo mading. But you know what's true? Is that it's hard to admit this. When you have to turn away from a party that has liberated you, it's hard. It feels like giving up a family member. But when that family member threatens the future of your children, you don't have a choice, but you need change, and you need to make a tough decision, because we need change, and we need it now. Let me tell you, I know exactly when it happened for me. One day, Negile was unsprayed. She's busy digging with her hands. I asked this woman, Mama, when's Antoni go? She says to me, I'm digging a toilet. I thought to myself, this is not the South Africa that we want. 25 years on, this truly disturbed me. It could have been your mother. It could have been your grandmother. Here she was, digging a hole from the ground. This is not the South Africa we want. Back then, 12 years ago, I thought to myself, wait, we simply can't carry on like that. If they can't do it for her, then what is the point of voting for this organization that would leave Bomkoko Basetse ko morago? Like many South Africans, I felt a great deal of disappointment. I had to confront a choice. Could I keep voting for a party that would let that woman dig her own toilet? Fellow South Africans, I want to say this. Our liberators have forgotten about us. Aribue, our liberators have forgotten about us. And I say this to you, fellow South Africans, at first we must be liberated, but then there comes a time where we have to liberate ourselves from the liberators. That day in Zanzibar, I learned two things. I want to be of service to our country. And if we are going to serve our country, it would never happen within the ANC. And let's now move, because we need a South Africa for all. Our country needed desperately a change. And I want to tell you something. I only knew that change can only come through the DA. It is the DA that South Africa and take us forward in a direction that that generation stood for. Amandla! I became serious about the fact that if we are going to make a difference, then the bottom line is that we must choose a government that delivers. And let me tell you something, the DA is that government, because when the DA governs, we deliver, and we deliver to all South Africans. Amandla! Away! You must look around you. We have a track record of delivery.
Where are the parents?
Our track record, yes, Baba Vela. Why it's about Vela Pan? Rargo Premier League yet delivered. Because actually it's a party that truly feels diverse. A party that can make sure that everybody who feels when other people want to divide us on the basis of race and say black people this side, white people that side, the DA stands united for all South Africans, working together to deliver for all our people. Amandla!
Away!
This is a party that has never stolen money from anybody, because we know when people entrust us with their money, we spend it on the people, not on corruption. We are a party that says there's zero tolerance for corruption. It's not empty words. We are doing it. Yeah. Fellow South Africans, these are the facts that convinced me back then that the DA was the future. And I want to tell you, these are the facts that convinced me that the DA is a party for the future. You can have your opinion about the DA, but you can't have your own facts. The facts speak for themselves. Mortwering rea deliver. Amandla!
Away.
I decided that if I was going to be of any service, I was going to work through the DA. It had to be the DA. And once I made that leap in my mind, I knew that I can picture South Africa where the government works for all the people. I knew we could achieve it. Fellow South Africans, let me tell you something. By the time I joined the DA, already we were making a difference in communities. I'm proud that our party delivers for all South Africans. In 10 years, the DA has taken the Western Cape from a province that was getting not clean audits now today to the best run province in South Africa. Halala, Western Cape, halala.
Halala.
When we came into government in 2009, the DA, that government there was not getting a single clean audit in any department. Now today, we are getting 83% of all departments in the Western Cape are getting clean audits. The second best province is only 52% get clean audits. But let me tell you what clean audits mean. Clean audits mean that we can use public funds are not wasted. They are not stolen. No money is stolen. It means that we take that money and spend it on the people, and we deliver on the promises that we say. Amandla.
Away! Two!
The best proof proof why the DA is the best government in the country is because unemployment in the Western Cape is 11 points below the rest of the country. Which means in the Western Cape, where people need a job, they get a job, and in other provinces, jobs are getting less and less. In the DA, jobs are getting more and more. Amandla! And I want to tell you this. Over the past year, more than half of the jobs that were created in South Africa were created in a DA-led Western Cape. And I want to say this up front. I want to thank the great achievement and the contribution that has been made by Premier Helen Zille. And I want to say you have done this country proud. And I know that Premier Ellen Windy will continue the incredible work that we are doing in that province. Amandla. I equally want to say that I want to bring the same government to here in Gauteng. Who knows, we are going to win here in Gauteng. Amandla. We're going to do it in the Northern Cape, and we're going to do it ultimately in the whole country. Because Democrats, the DA brings change that delivers jobs. More recently, the DA took over the metros in Joburg, Tshwane, and Nelson Mandela Bay through coalition government. And in a very short space of time, we have started to make a huge difference. Over the past year, Mayor Mashaba's administration has created well over 100,000 jobs in Johannesburg. Halala, Mashaba, halala. Halala. He has started already cleaning out corruption in the city of Johannesburg. He's already initiated thousands of investigations that have led to over 362 arrests, 16 suspensions, and ultimately 27 dismissals. We haven't just gone for the officials, we are also going for politicians. How only politiki, only corrupt, I celebrate the fact that Mayor Mashaba has built a power station for the people of South Africa and saved 50 million rands and delivered that power station on time. Mayor Msimanga arrived at Tshwane to an administration that was bloated, overstaffed. And Operation Now, he's turned it into a professional, a lean machine that delivers for all the people. From being 2 billion rands in debt when he took over Tshwane in 2016, the city of Tshwane now today has a surplus for the first time in many years. Halala, DA halala. Halala. I want to tell you, across South Africa, DA governments have done more to empower people through work, through a better service delivery, and through property ownership. You see, we believe our people must own land in their own rights. In the past 10 years, the DA government of the Western Cape has made more than 100,000 families property owners with full title deed. Just in the last 2 years, Mayor Mashaba's administration has delivered over 6,000 titles to family members. And my dream is that we can build a South Africa, whether urban or rural, where our people can own land in their own right. Amanda.
Away.
We are changing municipalities from Mudimule to Tabazimbi, and we are demonstrating that in all corners of South Africa, our people are delivering. But let me say this to you, fellow South Africans. Our opponents can sit in corners, they can call us names, they can say things about the DA. What they can't change is the fact where the DA governs, we deliver, and we deliver to all the people. But let me highlight this. Where the DA is in place, more people find work because the DA governs. Where the DA governs, more people get quality health care because we build world-class hospitals in places like Ekhayelitsha. Today, they've got incredible hospitals. They don't get to be dropouts before they hit matric because the DA governs, we make sure our kids can get through school. I want to tell you, where the DA governs, more people have got access to electricity and running water because we don't steal public money, we spend it on the people of South Africa and communities. No matter which way you look, where the DA is governed, we are simply in a different league. We are on another level. But let me say this. Yes, the DA has its shortcomings. Yes, we make mistakes. But I want to promise you this one thing. We have never lied to our people. We would never lie to our people. And I want to say this. I will make you a promise, and we intend to keep those promises. We don't want broken promises. We want to live in a country where one day life as a Maimane would never happen under a DA government, and state capture would never happen under a DA government. That's why we need change, and we need it now. We wake up every morning animated by the idea that we must deliver for our people. Fellow South Africans, if you ever think that there's a time now that we must bring South Africa together and turn things around, it is now. Kinako. We need change, and we need it when? Now. We need change, and we need it now. Our country is heading towards over the cliff. Over 10 million of our countrymen cannot find work. Our national debt now sits at over 3 trillion rand. We have a power utility that is bankrupt, that simply cannot keep the lights on. We need change, and we need it now. We're fast approaching the day when there will be more people who are unemployed than the people who are at work. This is deeply worrying. I want to say this, fellow South Africans. All I hear is a year of summits, a year of talk shops, a year of turnaround strategies. I'm tired of turning around. We need change, and we need it now. We've given them 25 years. 25 years is enough. Because after 25 years, you can't be watching this space. After 25 years, our people can't be drinking water with animals. After 25 years, our people cannot be hungry. We need change, and we need it now. We need to do it right now, fellow South Africans. Now is the time, and I have a plan. We've become a country that's split into two. A country of the haves and the country of the have-nots. A country of insiders and a country of outsiders. Those with jobs and those without jobs. We've got to bring change. We no longer need a liberation movement. We need a vision for South Africa. A vision led by a party that is focused on the future. And that party is the DA. There can only be one future in South Africa, and that future must be led by the DA. Amandla!
Away.
True. Let me tell you something. Our task is to build one South Africa for all, where no one is left behind. That's where you and I come in. It is a South Africa that can only be built by the DA government. It will not take us another 25 years, because we need change, and we need an immediate action right now. If you are with me, if you share this vision of a country that we want to help, that I want you to help me to build, I want you to stand with us, because we have no more time to waste. The DA has a plan. It's called an agenda for reform. This manifesto is a blueprint to build a government that works for the people. A government that will only appoint the best people to come and work in government, so that we can ensure that we attract the people into government who will serve the people of South Africa, not just serve their political party. It's this vision for South Africa. Fellow South Africans, let me tell you what this agenda looks like. For starters, I want to build a country that works, where our citizens get up to go to work, and a government that works for all of its citizens. Our vision can be summed up in one word. I want a job in every home. I want a job in every home. Give us a miracle, Mama Labeng.
Yeah.
Because if you've ever lived in a house without a job, you are going to struggle. And I want to say this to you. Too many of our households don't even have a single income coming into their house. If we can put a job in every home, we can transform our society. We can move our houses into homes. There is a freedom and a dignity that comes with having a job. It means somebody doesn't have to worry about what they are going to eat that night. It means a job in every home where nobody will ever go to bed hungry again in South Africa. This is how we want to build this South Africa. I want a job in every home. Amandla.
Awethu.
And we're going to do this by allowing those who are heroes of job creation to be able to create jobs. We want to make sure small businesses become entrepreneurs to do what is best. We will rebuild our economy by maximizing the sectors that are key to job creation. Sectors like manufacturing, agriculture, and tourism. Fellow South Africans, our manifesto will pass the Jobs Act, which will allow for tax incentives for people to come and open businesses that will create jobs. We will ensure that we introduce a year's program where our young people can work for 1 year. We will pay them so that they can learn the skills in government and the dignity to have a job. Amandla.
Awethu.
This will create a bridge between school leavers and those in the world of work. Fellow South Africans, I also have a dream of making all South Africans owners of their home with full title, both in urban and rural communities. It's a system. I don't want a place in this country where people are at the mercy of the state. We don't just oppose the Constitution for the sake of it, the amending of the Constitution for the sake of it. We want to ensure that Section 25 is protected in the Constitution so that our citizens can become owners, not tenants of the state. We have shown more than everywhere that we can deliver land reform within the Constitution, and our people know that they can settle compensation through our legal system rather than allowing politicians to decide who will own land and who can't own land. We will never again enslave our people to be people who work for the state. I would rather have our people be owners of their land. This is indeed true freedom. Amandla. I want our people to own land because property ownership is everything. It allows you to borrow money against that property. It allows you to take your kids to school and make sure they have a life that they can choose. But I also want South Africans to have a choice, which is why we are going to introduce a housing voucher where people can either use it to build their houses as a down payment on that house. I want a South Africa where we can find estate agents, Gobo Alexander, and communities like Khayelitsha, not just in Sandton, and properties that I want property to have value everywhere. That's true freedom. Fellow South Africans, I want to make sure our people can own their homes so that they can feel safe in them. It's high time now that we make sure that our people will know that we'll have a well-trained police officers that will keep our streets safe. In the South Africa I want to build, we are going to make sure that our police service is well trained. It focuses on the province. It is led by people who are professional. And ultimately, we can build a partnership between provincial police and metro police so that we can arrest the criminals who are terrorizing our streets. And we want a police service that works. That for all those who are living in farms, they have a rural safety unit that will make sure our farms are protected. Fellow South Africans, I want homes to become places of dignity where we can have separate rooms for parents and children. So that it means well-built homes, homes that have got electricity, running water, and flushing toilets. I want to speed up the delivery of basic services for all South Africans so that our people can enjoy the basic rights of the Constitution. I want our country to have an empowerment model that truly empowers more citizens. Isn't the politically connected? Let's give shares to the people who work in communities rather than politicians who are connected. Let those who work in a mine own shares in that mine. Amandla. We've got to build a model that transforms our society and builds an inclusive economy that addresses the historical injustices that were committed against black South Africans. Fellow South Africans, I want to build a better country where the most vulnerable don't have to suffer from poverty. I know what it's like to raise kids, and 400 ranta is not enough. We are going to increase the child grant so that it's a living grant, so that our people buy it. I want to to make sure that our country have got secure borders so that anybody who wants to come in legally is welcome to come in. But those who want to come in illegally, we can be able to ensure that our borders are secure. I want to build an energy secure and a sustainable country thanks to our renewable energies to make sure that we are ready for climate change and we can build a sustainable South Africa. We will be and build a future that makes sure our kids are prepared for that future. Fellow South Africans, our world is changing and we need to prepare our kids for it. I want to build an ICT infrastructure that will allow our citizens to become digital citizens. And finally, I want to make sure that you can live in a country that builds one South Africa for all. And you can read more about it in this manifesto. I want to say to all the politicians, if you are corrupt, you are going to spend at least 15 years in jail. Genoeg is genoeg. I'm going to introduce an anti-corruption unit staffed by both specialist prosecutors and investigators. Tenders will no longer be issued behind back doors. They must be issued in front of our people. Fellow South Africans, I will have zero tolerance for corruption. This is the only way we build our country. But let me say this to you. We will build a South Africa where no one is left behind. Fellow South Africans, and yes, we can afford it. We can afford it by selling SOEs that don't work. We can afford it by cutting down ministries. We can afford it by slashing down the cabinet. If we stop wasting money, we can be able to afford the dream to build our South Africans. I am calling on labor. I'm calling on business. I'm calling on political parties. Let us sit around the table and have an agenda for reform, an agenda for South Africa. We can either talk past each other, we can strike past each other, but now is the time that we place South Africa and build a South Africa for all. We will only coalesce with people who stand for the dream. I want to call on everybody who's in the stadium. I want you to stand to your feet right now, because here we are today. We are about to build a South Africa. If you are going to help me do this, I want you to be part of the dream. I want you to rediscover the optimism of this country, why this nation is so great. I want you to remember the dream that once we had as all South Africans that all those years ago. I want all of you to remember why so many gave up their lives so that we can enjoy this freedom. Now is the time. We need change and we need it now. We need a South Africa where many who have sacrificed will know their sacrifices were not in vain. I want to think of all parents and fathers, people who left the homelands to come and find a dream in Gauteng. Those are the ones who moved away even from their loved ones. They stood up for that dream. They knew that one day South Africa will be a country they could call home and be proud of. My parents, my mother left eTofimvaba, Eastern Cape, utatam waphuma atswa ko Botswana Botswana. They came here in South Africa in Gauteng. They found work. They wanted to build a Joburg. I was grateful that they had a job. I want that dream for more South Africans. I want a job in every home. And if you believe it, I want you to stand up and know we have a freedom to preserve, a country to stand for. They may not have the great job. They may not have had the best job, but they stood up for this country. They stood up for our nation. Because when you have a job, you have a choice. Freedom is a choice. So fellow South Africans, I want to build a country where our kids will know when they go to school, there'll be teachers in those schools. I want to build a country where when you have a job, you can choose which clinic you want to take your child to. I want to build a country where if you have a job, you don't have to worry about what you're going to eat that night. This is the South Africa we want, and I know it's possible. I know freedom is possible. And this freedom can only be possible if we put a job in every home. Fellow South Africans, we need change, and we need it
now.
We need change, and we need it
now.
Because this is the cause for our generation. Help me achieve this. This is our choice that we've got to give up our socks for. It's time now that we roll up our sleeves. It's time now that we stand together and build a future for all South Africans. We are proud South Africans. We are heroes. We've done great things and we can do it again. Many people thought 94 would never be possible, but my parents and your parents gave up bullets so that they could stand up for ballots. In this election, it's your opportunity to pick up your pen and come and vote for a party that delivers, a party that stands for all South Africans, a party that will put a job in every home, a party that will make sure we're safe. We're going to get right back up there. We're going to build a South Africa. Come on. I'm calling on you. Let's stand together. On the 8th of May, we can create an economy that creates jobs. We can build a country that has a future for all our people. Let's build a better tomorrow, and let's start by changing this government. So if you want a government that will work for you, vote DA.
Yes.
If you want a government that will deliver jobs for you,
Vote DA.
if you want a government that will not steal your money and use the money for the people,
Vote DA.
we can make history. We can build one South Africa for all, and we can march together to bring change in Gauteng, Northern Cape, Western Cape, and the rest of the country. God bless South Africa. God send South Africa. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our beautiful land. God bless you. Amanda.
Away to
Hoya Rona, Hoya Rona, Hoya